Hey Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
So Corey, we're back again.
Yay, Gremlins. I'm so excited.
So there's 3 rules.
Never get them wet.
Never expose them to light.
Especially sunlight, it'll kill them.
And never ever
Feed
them after midnight. And we're working on that dual person thing there.
Oh, yeah,
like
it was okay.
Not quite hive mind.
No.
We're working. We're getting there. So, one of your faves?
Absolutely. I mean, this is everybody's fave. I don't know of any person who ever disliked this movie.
You know, it kind of runs a gamut, right? It's not a comedy straight up, but there's elements that make you laugh. It's not a horror straight up, but there's some kind of scary elements.
Yeah, I mean...
It's not an action straight up, but there are some action scenes even, right?
Yeah, it's kind of... You're right. It's all over the map, isn't it?
So, as we talked about with Temple of Doom, how that was responsible for PG-13, right? Did you know this was also responsible for PG-13?
I don't think I knew that right away. And actually, honestly, when you reminded me, I'm like, oh, right. I think I did know that, but it wasn't on the forefront of my mind for sure. So,
once again, we're going back to the 80s, right?
I mean, I could move back to the 80s. I had a great time in the 80s. So.
No, I don't remember the 80s that well. I remember 89. 89 was a good time in my life. But
87 was for me. 87 was just absolute fire for movies and music. So,
I was looking at the movies that came out this year. I think this was 84, I want to say.
Yep. Ghostbusters.
Temple of Doom. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
What else? There was another huge one. This wasn't Goonies.
When was Return?
Oh, was Return 84?
Was either
no. 83.
83. Yeah.
83 was Return. They're some of the all-time best movies, though.
Yeah. This is, again, we've talked about this like 50 times already, but the Lucas and Spielberg era of the 80s dominated the box office and dominated our hearts.
Yeah, from like 81 with Raiders up until like Jurassic Park in 93, it was just banger after banger, eh?
Yeah, totally. And then after that, yeah, he may have had some, I mean, not critical, but average viewer hit and misses, but they were still, in one way, on their own, I can't talk, were good.
Yeah, I can't think of any movie of his, like, I was a little disappointed with Tintin.
But I never did watch it because I didn't care much for the cartoon, so...
You know what? I read the comics a lot as a kid, and I know he was a huge inspiration for Indiana Jones, so I was actually really excited to see what he did with it, but the animation style kind of didn't really do it for me. Like, it wasn't a bad movie.
No, like I said, it just didn't interest me. Between that and Speed Racer, the movie, which unfortunately I did watch, they didn't need to be made.
You know, what happened to the Wachowski brothers, or Wachowski sisters?
The Wachowskis. That's all they go by now. So if you watch the new Matrix, it's just the Wachowskis.
I thought it was only one Wachowski that did that one.
Oh, mate. No, yeah, that one. You're right. One of the movies they did. I can't remember.
I guess said the Wachowskis?
Yeah.
Oh, did they do Cloud Atlas? Was that them?
Maybe. I didn't watch that. So.
Yeah, that was terrible. They like... The Wachowskis kind of like made one good movie and then coasted the rest of their career on one good movie.
Well, they planned a trilogy with The Matrix. That's the thing. It's not like they did the other ones because the first one made money. They planned the trilogy. Unfortunately, all their creative genius went into the first one.
Yeah. You know, I really liked the second and the third one. Like, there was, like, I understand why they're more critically panned than the original because they're not as good as the original. But, like, 2 and 3 were still... I'll watch them when they come on TV. I've owned the whole DVD set.
Oh, I mean, I own them all on Blu-ray too, but I think what was funny is, what's called, how the second and third, they work, but what made the first one so good is it was that holy crap, what if there is this world and we're not in it?
Mhm.
And then after 2 and 3, it's like, oh no, it is what it is, and now here it is. Whereas the what ifs is what made the first one so popular.
So we got to talk about the puppetry in this movie, eh? In Gremlins,
Yeah.
like that's why you could remake Gremlins today, and
Well-
it would not have the charm. Like Gizmo is fucking adorable.
Yeah, between puppets and animatronics, that's all they used. There was no practical or special effects in this movie.
Well, and like, have we talked about the voice acting yet for the Gremlins?
Not in here, no.
No. So Howie Mandel, Gizmo,
Yeah, which
everyone knows.
I thought. I read an article today. It's like, I was today years old when I realized it was Howie Mandel. I'm like, really?
I thought that was
Lived under
common
a rock? Yeah.
You know what I didn't know? So when I was watching the credits for this show the other day, Frank Welker,
Frank Welker is amazing.
who's Optimus or
Peter Cullen?
yeah, Peter Cullen's in here. So you got Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Yeah.
The dude from Police Academy.
Michael Winslow?
Yeah,
Really?
he is one of the voice actors in here. I was.
Really?
They've got some heavy hitters like for voice acting for these Gremlins. It's like amazing. Oh.
Yeah,
And
wasn't Frank Welker Stripe or?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he was Stripe. Yeah. It was either him or.
Because I don't think it was Cullen.
Yeah, it was definitely more of a Welker voice,
Yeah.
right?
Because Cullen's a very deep voice, and Stripe wasn't a very deep voice. But
Well,
I could see him being a background voice because he did a lot of voice acting. So.
So, do you understand the Feed After Midnight? Like, what if you cross international time zones?
That was the best part of Gremlins 2 is when they started. Basically, what I actually read, they actually took fan mail and wrote that scene based off fan
Oh,
mail.
did they?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do Gremlins too. Gremlins is optically a better movie. It's a better sequence movie. It's a better shot movie. It's a more well produced movie. Gremlin 2's is better.
Well, what's funny is they're two totally different movies, but it's still Joe Dante directing, which I don't know if I mentioned on here, but Joe Dante was a horror movie director. And so, like, he did The Howling, which was an 80s horror staple. And yet, Spielberg gets all these horror guys and puts them into what I call family-friendly horror.
Well, that's what he knew how to do. He knew how to, like, you've really seen it with Temple of Doom. Like, he had just enough horror that, like, it kind of scared the shit out of you as a kid, but didn't traumatize you, right? Like, and Gremlins was like, there was a couple scenes as a kid, like Stripe scared the bejesus out of me.
The scene where he was in the Christmas tree, the one gremlin was in the Christmas tree.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
So
You just kind of see his eyes, right?
Yeah.
And then he jumps out.
yeah.
Well, and that's right before he jumps into the pool, isn't that?
No, because I was at the house that he was in the tree.
But he runs out of the house, doesn't he? Go through the window.
No, it wasn't Stripe in the tree. It was just another regular.
Oh,
gremlin.
okay. I thought it was Stripe.
But it might have been the scene right before that where Stripe runs to the pool. So because
no. After it was after the tree, because they kill everybody in the house, right? Or all the gremlins, right? The mother with the fucking blender.
yeah.
Like, it's the only invention that works in the fucking house. This inventor dad's just got all this stuff. Oh my god, and the inventor convention scene. The stuff you see on the background, I love that his dad's an inventor in it and just like a traveling salesman, but like, did you see the time machine, like H.G. Wells' time machine?
They actually did that in part 2 as well. The scene where they're in the laboratory and Christopher Lee walks in with a giant pod in his hand is a nod to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which had Christopher Lee in it. So there's so much subtleties in these movies, right? And again, Spielberg knew what he was doing. So
these guys are obviously like 50s horror fans.
totally.
That made these. Like, that's probably where The Howling came from. The Howling was like
Well,
A throwback to the Wolfman, really.
Yeah, Howling was 87, I want to say, and what's it called? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think, was like 60 something, and I mean Christopher Lee being in Gremlins 2. Christopher Lee was, of course, known for the Hammer Dracula flicks. So
I think they had the robot from Lost in Space.
was that?
No, it wasn't the robot from Lost in Space. It was from Plan 9. That robot. You know, the big. He almost looks like the Michelin tire man.
Yeah,
The big evil robot. No, the inventor dad's hilarious in this, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's essentially the comic relief without trying to be the comic relief.
Oh yeah, he's trying to be the straight man.
Yeah.
I've got the next new biggest invention is cutting edge, edge of technology here. Smokeless cigarette ashtray.
Which was a thing in the 80s, and they were noisier than hell.
Well, how many things that he invented
Became a thing.
Yeah, like the instant coffee maker. It's a
Yeah.
fucking Keurig.
Yeah, right? And even so, it's still a coffee pot.
He tried inventing that wireless telephone.
Yeah.
And we got wireless telephones, right? He knew what he was doing. He just didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was on the right track.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he had, a mentor to give him the ideas. But that's overthinking it, I think, so.
Mm-hmm.
The Gremlins hatching scene. I mean, that was grotesque back in the day, so.
It's all the slime they use.
Yeah.
Like they use the slime when the Gremlins are eating all the food too.
Yeah.
Or the Mogwais are eating all that food.
Mogwais,
Rah, rah,
yeah.
rah, and they get slime all over. And then the eggs almost remind me of Aliens, which came out beforehand. Like,
yeah, because the first Alien was 76. So.
was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. We're going to have to fact check you on that. I don't trust your numbers anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been wrong way too many times.
76? That sounds too early. I knew it was the 70s, but 76? I gotta give that movie more credit if it really was 76. Why do you think, why?
Oh, 79.
79.
79.
I'm sorry that I had to call you on the fact check, Corey.
That's all right, because Aliens was 86, and I could have had the two numbers mixing up in my head. So.
Well, that was clearly an 86 movie, like Aliens.
Yeah.
Like, that was pure late 80s.
But that was Cameron at his best, next to, of course, Terminator, so.
Yeah, that turned a horror movie into an action franchise.
Yeah.
That's what Aliens did, right?
Well, the thing is, I hate sci-fi, and yet it turned sci-fi into, like you said, an action movie. So I enjoyed those movies immensely. I have the whole quadrilogy, and I've watched them before and again. And
we're not talking about Aliens, but what's the worst one? Is it Resurrection?
It's not Resurrection or 3. 3 wasn't that good either. So
I remember 3 not liking it as a kid, and then I eased up on it. And I really liked Resurrection when I was a kid because I went to go see it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched it later, and it's like,
nostalgia is a funny thing.
Wow, this is terrible. But
not that we're off topic or anything.
Yeah, 97 was a terrible year for movies. There were some fucking big eggs in 97 or 96, whenever that was made.
Yeah, I can't think of any good movies from that year.
You're
right.
Yeah. So
97.
Why are all high school science teachers in the 80s these magical fucking scientists?
Yeah.
Like, they do it in Stranger Things too. And this is not the only 80s movie where I've seen, I can't think of it, but we're like, oh, I'm going to take it to my science teacher and he's going to do science experiments.
It reminds me of Paul Rudd in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, you're a high school teacher. You're not a scientist, dude. Like,
they don't get paid enough to do that.
Yeah.
I always thought this, and forgive me for how terrible it sounds, but I found it funny that the only person you see die on screen is the black guy.
No, the old lady
The old lady kind of dies off screen. Like, you assume she's dead because she flies 20 feet out of her house. But, yeah.
Is it really the only death on screen?
I can't think of any other one.
That's interesting.
And actually, to be honest, I don't know if it was on screen for this guy either. So, upon further review from the command center, his death was also off camera, leaving the only, I'm pretty sure, 2 human casualties in this movie being off-screen deaths.
Sometimes you just gotta send it to Toronto and get the final decision. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you love the gremlin deaths in this thing?
Man, that mom is badass.
Right.
Fucking blends the one, microwaves the other.
Oh my god, that microwave scene is like just full of fucking guts.
This, by the way, has now surpassed the PG-13 rating, so we apologize for those this may offend.
Oh yeah, the odd expletive down there. Sorry. Gremlins managed to keep it under PG-13. What the hell's wrong with us, right?
Well, and see, back then, the F-bomb rating wasn't a PG-13 logic back then. It was just the graphic nature of it. Like, with Raiders, for example, reaching into someone's chest. With this one, the way the gremlins are destroyed.
Blowing the gremlin up in the microwave.
Yeah, that was pretty gory for practical effects. So,
Planes, Trains, and Automobile is an R-rated movie. Did you know that?
Isn't there a lot of swearing in that movie?
There is one scene of swearing.
That's it? I just remember them swearing.
And it's Steve Martin going up to the... I can't remember if it's an airplane or a bus. Robbie the Robot. Robbie the Robot. The evil robot from Plan 9 is on screen right now. So he goes up and he's trying to get his tickets for something. And then she's just like, oh, sorry, sir, we can't. And then this one scene, he's just like, God, and they wanted that scene in the movie so badly. The rest of the movie is PG. Not even PG. It was more than
likely ad-libbed by Steve Martin too, and they just ran with it. And they're like, you know what, you're gonna have to change your rating. Fine, we want to keep that scene.
Yeah, it was the best scene of the movie where he just loses his shit. Right. Well, when the car falls apart too, it's pretty funny. But like,
those aren't pillows. What's called one thing that drove me nuts about this movie, and they never actually mentioned it when they were debunking it in the second movie there, but the fact that the gremlins are walking on snow. Is that not water?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, it bothered me. I lost sleep over that.
Like they're barefoot.
Yeah.
So, oh my god.
But again, overthinking a movie. So
it's a movie about a mogwai.
Yeah.
Let's just cut it a little bit.
We got to, and that's the great thing about the '80s movies: is you can suspend belief and still enjoy the movie.
They didn't try as hard back in the '80s to be canonically accurate.
And Stripe just dove into the pool.
Oh yeah, where the pool goes green and it's just like
flashing lights for some reason.
I love the crazy. This is when the movie gets good for me. Like the crazy gremlins all over town.
When they go into the movie theater to watch Snow White.
Oh yeah, yeah. What are they doing in there? Watching Snow White.
Yeah, that was
and
part 2 there.
Yeah.
And then they get Hulk Hogan to chase them out.
Well, Snow White's this one.
Well, they watch it, but don't they? Oh no! The guy says all they want to do is watch Snow White. That's what they said. They didn't.
Oh, in the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a callback to this one.
Yeah, a total nod. There's so many nods.
The whole YMCA is just like a disco party going on in there.
Because apparently, transforming equals lights? Question mark.
Oh. If Phoebe Cates just goes wild in the bar, eh?
Yeah.
Like when she figures out she can get him with like the camera.
Yeah.
Like, and the drunk sheriffs in town are also awesome. Like, you can't drive. Can I drive? No, you're drunk. So are you. Yeah, but I'm the sheriff, idiots.
Oh, the 80s.
Like, of course the sheriff and the deputy are drunk, right? Like, that's just the way it's got to work.
What the hell else is there to do in Kingston Falls?
Oh, best death in the scene or in the movie, if I haven't already said it.
The old lady?
The old lady who's like, you can tell right from the beginning of the movie when she like cuts in line at the bank, like she's fucking getting it, right? Like, that she's getting her comeuppance. Like, oh, I'll get you and your little dog,
Well,
right?
it's funny, and that's totally it. But you see her at the beginning, you hate her from the beginning, but then you don't see it anymore, and you're like, oh. And then when they do that to her, everyone's like, yay!
Yeah.
See, it's stop motion, but it's practical.
The stop motion I don't like.
What could they do?
Yeah, I know. Like that's the only practical effect I didn't really like in the 80s was stop motion. I just didn't like stop motion. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do when you got these big scenes. Oh.
Yeah, Spielberg was only a millionaire. He wasn't a billionaire yet.
Yeah, which he would be now.
Yeah, he would be.
Was the Phoebe Cates dad story unnecessary?
Yes.
Like,
I don't understand. Like, I feel that was a Joe Dante thing because it was so out of place in the movie, and Joe Dante originally did want to make this a scarier movie. So I feel like because it was meant to tug on your heartstrings and everything like that, but it was just out of place.
It's got the bones of a like Nightmare on Elm Street-ish type scary.
Yeah,
but
and it's depressing as hell.
I think that if they would have went that, they would have ended up like a Ghoulies, where it would have been like I haven't seen Ghoulies in forever,
So long.
but I remember it like being scary, but like so campy scary.
Oh yeah, just like Critters. It was another like I'd said to you earlier in that one message. I said Critters was the original Minions.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Except for murderous little minions.
Yeah, murderous little minions. I don't think Critters was quite as campy as Ghoulies. But
No,
it
it
was
tried
close.
harder.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Critters 3, first movie of Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, really?
Yep.
When was Critters 3?
I don't remember. I'm not even going to try to guess that one.
Yeah, like I think I googled to see which was made first, Ghoulies or Critters,
It was probably
and
Critters.
Ghoulies were first.
Ghoulies was first. Okay.
Critters
So then I
wasn't
guess
made.
Ghoulies was the original Critters, not or Minions, not Ghoulies. Ghoulies was the original Minions, not Critters.
Yeah,
There we go. Why can't I
Critters
talk?
are more minion-like than Ghoulies.
Although Ghoulies were more funny looking, like they were little mini beings, whereas the Critters were just little puffballs with legs and feet
Oh,
that shot their spines at people.
where are we going with this?
Oops.
Where were we going with that? I lost. So Leonardo DiCaprio's first movie.
Yeah.
So I worry that if they would have tried to make this a straight up horror movie,
It would have lost the target audience.
well, it would have ended up in the Ghoulies Critters camp, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like too campy to be scary, but like
But too scary to be
fun.
all ages. Yeah.
Yeah. Where those movies are fun, but like
But they were still horror.
yeah. These Gremlins is a perfect balance.
Okay. He's in the snow.
Yeah,
Come on.
He's like, wow, he's not even walking on it. He like
I
tunnels
know,
through
like
the snow.
bright lights right there.
Yeah, not bugging him at all. Movie logic. When it's time to do it, you just do it, right? Who cares? It's 80s movie logic.
I always loved the Gremlins.
So this is a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is
100%.
Is it a Halloween movie?
No.
Not a Halloween movie, but definitely a Christmas movie, eh?
No, just because it's horror doesn't mean it's a Halloween movie. Although I do watch random horror movies in Halloween, but this is a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas. That is all the requirements in my mind.
It doesn't feel super Christmassy.
I mean, he gets Gizmo as a Christmas present.
I guess he does.
Yeah, I mean an early one because
Because he was wrapped inside
Yeah.
of wrapping and it's just like, this thing will die because
Yeah.
I'm going to
yeah,
suffocate it.
open it up now.
And he doesn't get to keep it. The old
Yeah.
Chinese dude comes back.
Yeah.
Scolds them.
Mitch
I love
Wong
that-
has much
that-
responsibility.
But dad's not even there while all this shit's going on.
Yeah.
And the dad gets like shit pooped on? We gotta get back to this PG-13 rating.
We're too late now.
We're too late now. Yeah, fuck it now. Right?
Yeah.
Fuck it. No. The dad like just takes all this shit and abuse, and he wasn't even here when everything happened.
But he was. Well, you'd think the mother would be the mature adult, but
Well, the mother doesn't get in any heck, but the dad sure like just takes a crap kicking. Die Hard Christmas movie.
absolutely.
My wife bought me the Die Hard 'Twas the Night Before Christmas book.
Oh yeah.
So 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and all through the
Nakatomi Plaza.
Nakatomi Plaza.
Now,
Terror.
what's the other '80s action flick that's also a Christmas movie?
Lethal Weapon.
There you go.
I think Lethal Weapon's more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard. Myself, like it feels more Christmassy, even though being set in a place with no Christmas tree or like snow, it's still a more of a Christmas
I
movie.
put all three, like this movie, Lethal Weapon, and Die Hard, equally in the span of Christmas movies, in my opinion. So,
Are we gonna do like a month of Christmas movies that aren't really Christmas movies? That should be our plan for for December. Like, we've already done Gremlins, so that's kind of out.
Yeah.
But like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, is that not a Christmas movie?
yeah, I think so.
Iron Man 3, technically it's a Christmas movie.
Technically, yeah, but if it's
Shane Black just loves his Christmas movies.
Did Shane Black do Iron Man 3?
Shane Black did
Holy
Iron Man
crap.
3. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it was my least favorite of the Iron Man movies.
Actually, the Lethal Weapon 5 movie that they're so gung-ho on doing sounds like Shane Black will be back for it, so that
Really?
kind of excites me.
I don't know.
I'll watch it. I mean, I'm not going in there like a little kid. I'll watch it. So
Did Richard Donner ever make any of them, or did he just produce them all? Because Shane Black made the first one, I remember. I couldn't remember if Shane Black made the rest of them or Richard Donner.
I think Donner did 4? 3?
I could see him doing 4. 4 was arguably one of the better ones.
Oh, totally. Jet Li made that movie.
Oh yeah. And them getting high on the in the Chinese place or the office.
Yeah. God, I love those movies.
No. So when in Gremlins here, when we finally get to the bar scene, I love that shit. Like they finally get to be all wacky and weird. That's the stuff I love about the second one.
Right.
They doubled down on it in the second one.
Oh, they tripled down on it. In the second
Yeah,
one,
they tripled
anyway.
down on the zaniness. But in the bar and in the theater, oh my god, that scene in the theater where the movie goes out, right?
Yeah.
And then you've just got the white projection screen and they're running away, and then you see the Gremlins going behind there. That was like, oh my god, that was like such a creepy, scary scene as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, look at these things. Like,
And then they make fun of it in the second one where they start doing shadow puppets and everything on the screen. Oh, Donner did the first movie.
Donner did the first movie?
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that Shane Black did the first one.
He wrote it.
Of course he wrote it, because it's a Christmas movie. So, Corey Feldman's in this. Did you realize that?
I did. Almost immediately.
I didn't know that till like my last viewing of this, and my wife's just like, "Oh, is Corey Feldman in this?" Like, what?
Oh,
So, like,
what's
the
that? Corey
Goonies-
Feldman in a Steven Spielberg movie? No.
Spielberg directed movie.
Yeah.
Wait, guess who wrote this? Just wild guess. Who could have?
Was this John Hughes?
Not John Hughes. Think more Goonies. Who are we talking about in the Goonies?
Was it Donner still, or?
No, I don't think it was. Yeah, Donner directed or produced as well Goonies, didn't he? It was Donner and Spielberg, right?
Yeah.
Chris Columbus.
Oh, okay.
He wrote this.
Which is funny because Chris Columbus directed Home Alone, and it was written by John Hughes, and Christmas movie. And then a lot of people forgot Chris Columbus actually did one of the Harry Potter movies too. So.
Yeah. Weren't we talking about that the last? Because did he not write Goonies?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, was that not Chris Columbus that wrote Goonies? I thought he wrote
Yeah.
Goonies.
Yeah. And John Hughes wrote Home Alone. Yeah. So
Who directed Goonies? Why am
maybe
I?
it was Donner. Fun fact: I just looked through, and Donner actually directed all 4 Lethal Weapon movies. So Shane Black was just the writer.
Yeah, Donner directed Goonies. Chris Columbus wrote it. That's what happened with Goonies. And Shane Black wrote the Lethal Weapon movies. All of them?
Most of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, Donner directed Goonies, and Chris Columbus wrote Goonies with
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg.
So if you wanted a good kids movies in the 80s, you said, hey, Chris Columbus, you come over here and you come write this thing.
And I mean, it's great because play on his name. Do you know what his production company's called? 1492 Pictures.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But why would you do that to your kid? Like, we're going to name you Chris Columbus. Christopher. Actually, we're going to name you Christopher. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, and luckily, his credit now is only Chris. But I think back in the day, like his early stuff, I think it was Christopher. I can't remember. Sorry.
Any more thoughts on Gremlins?
No. Again, quintessential Christmas movie. I watch this every December. Some of the best practical effects for its time. It
They
didn't rely
still
on digital
hold
effects.
up.
They do. I mean, again, cheesy. Yes, sure. But again, 1980. What was this? 4?
4.
Yeah. So
1984.
all things considered, pretty damn amazing. Like you said, the stop motion on the green screen. Yeah.
Gizmo was amazing. Like
Gizmo was great, and
I love his little car chase scene.
yeah,
Where it's just like he's in the car. You got this epic music going on, and then it goes back to Stripe and Billy, and then it cuts back to Gizmo. He's like, "I'm coming."
See,
then
again, to suspend belief. What kind of car can you drive that's that small?
Right. Like he didn't have like a remote control car, sure, but he didn't have the remote control.
Okay, so modern day argument. Did they steal Gizmo's look for Grogu in The Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They totally did. Like, not the entire look, obviously.
Obviously,
They were just like, what if we combine Gizmo with Yoda? And you get Grogu.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you have the cute body type of Gizmo, and then you put Yoda's skin on him.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Disney people refuse to admit that. Like they've been asked, and they're like, "No, we didn't."
Like it could have been a bit of a coincidence.
It's a strong ass coincidence.
They're both the most adorable thing on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wanted a Mogwai when I was a kid.
Well, you'd never have to feed her after midnight.
Yeah.
Which is technically any time during the day, except for Guess Before Midnight. Because Guess Before Midnight would be Guess Before, but anytime after midnight could be like
before midnight.
3 o'clock in the afternoon is technically after midnight.
And yet it's also before midnight.
Like, when is the cutoff? You think it's like 6 in the morning? Like, if you feed them at 6 in the morning, you're
6
fine?
is a good time. I can deal with 6. Anyway.
So, I'm giving this movie...
Oh, boy.
3 Indiana Jones out of 4. I was going to give it 2.5. I was going to give it the same rating as Goonies. But I decided, no, I would give it that half an Indiana Jones movie above. And maybe that's nostalgia for me because, like, I do think it's actually very much on par with Goonies after watching them back and forth now. But, yeah, there's more fun scenes in this movie than there is Goonies.
Yeah.
Like, I think Goonies...
This was like action, whereas Goonies was action adventure, so kind of a different feel, whereas at the same time...
This was like an action horror.
Yeah, action horror family flick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. So.
8.5 out of 10?
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Best scene?
whether it be the mother killing the gremlins, because that was pretty amazing,
Mm-hmm.
or Phoebe Cates in the bar killing the gremlins.
Phoebe
Or not
Cates
killing them, but
with
keeping them at bay.
with the camera.
Yeah.
Mine would either be when the old lady, the bitch from the bank,
Yeah.
comes in with her fucking snowman's head. I know your little daughter.
Yeah. I've seen that movie before. Anyway.
When she finally gets her comeuppance. You know, you don't think about it, but like the gremlins are always fucking around with shit, eh? Like they're always
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
Gremlins.
Yeah, they're literally gremlins. Like, oh, they're destroying the machinery. They're like cutting brake lines. They're doing this. They're doing
traffic lights. And...
Yeah, so I love the scene where they mess with the little staircase chair and she goes flying out the window.
Yeah,
it's either that or when they're in the theater. When all the gremlins are gathered together in the theater watching Snow White and the Seven
Theaters
Dwarfs.
are definitely, that would be my next scene.
Yeah.
I remember like the big scene at the end where Stripe meets his demise. That scene scared the living crap out of me.
Well, it looked like Stripe was gonna win.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and then he's like drowning in that water with the light on, and then he comes out, he's just a skull and everything.
Oh my god, like
yeah.
Those effects in that final scene, like, oh my god, that skeleton just oozing with that stuff.
It was nasty. And as a horror fan, I appreciate it. But as a little kid, goddamn. So
I think I seen this this came out when I was 1.
I was 5.
Yeah, so I don't remember seeing this for the first time. I had like a Gremlins puzzle. I had a Gremlins puzzle and an E.T. stuffy. And E.T. scared the fuck out of me. Gremlins scared the fuck out. Gremlins scared me less than E.T. did. I remember being terrified of E.T. as a kid.
Well, that's because E.T. wasn't cute. He was whatever he was.
Yeah.
I used to have those. I can't remember if they were records or cassettes, like little ones, and it was a book. And it's like, you will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring, like this. And I had that for Gremlins, and I had that for another movie. I can't remember which, but yeah, like that's what I think of when I think of Gremlins.
You know what? I had that same book now that I think about it. Like that record could like
actually E.T. was the other one. You're right.
Was it E.T.? I didn't have the E.T. one, but I did have the Gremlins one. I had a cassette with the Transformers on it too, like that.
Nice.
And it'd have like the Transformer theme, do do do, and that's how you'd flip over the tape. Oh. Well, Corey, signing off again.
Sounds good. Hope everybody enjoyed this. You know the drill. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We're everywhere. We're like a bad penny.
Are we doing Gremlins too? I
think we might as well. I mean, we talked about it a lot today. Is there much left to talk about?
I think there's... Well, I haven't seen it in a while, so I think I'm down for talking about it.
All right. Sounds
I'm down
good.
for talking about it.
I just watched it a couple weeks ago, so I will definitely watch it again.
I tried talking you into doing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but...
yeah, for those who saw that movie, there's a lot going on. And I feel we couldn't go scene by scene because it would be like a 5-hour podcast. And if we decide to sum it up, it's only going to be like a 5-minute podcast. So I think that one might be better.
Spider-Man finds another version of himself, goes to the Spider-Verse. Yeah. Okay, ends up in the wrong universe. Goodbye.
The end.
Yeah.
So I might do a write-up on the Instagram page. I might not. We'll see.
You were trying to convince me to do a write-up. Maybe I'll find some time. I'm not going to promise.
Okay. Well, now that I'm doing what I'm doing.
Now that you're gainfully employed?
Yeah, I'm, my time is...
See, you're gainfully employed. I almost got fired today.
Yeah. It's a good day.
It's a good day, eh? Well, signing off.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Is that it?